So they'll generate the title, they'll generate the description, and now if you want to search, it searches everything in the video that you're talking about. So if you have something, let's say you want to teach somebody an onboarding process, well, it's easy to find. It's
Lunch with Lunch with Lunch with
Hey everybody, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about AI. And let's see, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about how to use AI to become more productive and effective. We're going to be talking about some of the most exciting developments that are happening right now. We're going to be talking about the tools and how to use AI in your day-to-day work. All right, everyone. Welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. All right. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be discussing how to use AI to become more productive and effective. Our guest, awesome guest, is CEO of Skill Leap AI. If you haven't heard of it, you will definitely be probably visiting his website right after we get through this. His YouTube channel, Howfinity, has over 200 million views and 750,000 subscribers, augmented by a lively 600,000 strong TikTok audience. Not bad. He owns a production company. He has expertise in pretty much anything education. And I'm talking about a guy you may or may not have heard of, Saj Adibs. And I hope, Saj, I just said that right. If I haven't, please correct me. But first, before we get to Saj, let's get over to our sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skilled and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today, and now let's get back to the show. And enjoy the episode. Let's bring on Saj. There he is.
Hey, Norm.
How are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Just talking with you here, it's almost like I see you so much. Every week I see you, and I think I know you. I know we've had conversations outside of this, but you do something really incredible, and that's taking things and breaking them down into bite-sized pieces for people to digest. And I'm one of these guys. I'm an old guy. I don't want to have all this stuff going over my head, and I'm doing this when I really am doing that, not knowing anything. But your tutorials on AI, probably the best out there.
Oh, thank you.
Probably the best on the internet. And that's my secret, by the way, everybody. So if you're listening live, that you have something called Skill Leap. And It is, first of all, the cheapest platform and probably the best platform for learning anything AI. So even before we get into you and what we're talking about today, can we talk a little bit about Skill Leap and just some of the modules? Let's just talk about some of the modules that you're producing every week.
Sure. It's kind of a mix of tutorials that are like standalone. So if you only have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you could just watch one of those tutorials. Some of those I also post on YouTube, but a lot of them are exclusive to Skill Leap. We strip out the ads and all that for that.
Yeah.
But really the main benefit of Skill Leap is we have entire courses. So for example, the very first course that you'll see on the platform is called The Ultimate Guide to AI. And that's about 74, 75 videos. So it's the most comprehensive course that took me about 3 months, basically maybe from April or so, I started putting that together, and it covers everything. So it started with ChatGPT, but as more AI tools started coming online, there's about 20 or so that I found really, really good. There's maybe 500, 1,000, right? But most of them are sort of just not really worth your time. So I was like, okay, what's the best ones that could actually be used in a productive way. So I made that course. And then I started hiring other experts. For example, Andrew that works with us, he's an amazing graphic designer. He's been doing this for 15 years, really an expert in Photoshop. But when Midjourney came online, he really dove into Midjourney. So we have one of the most comprehensive courses on Midjourney. He put together a 100-page PDF that comes with that course. Maybe 500 prompts that you could use, copy and paste into Midjourney. And then we started hiring other experts. We had a podcaster actually. He made anything related to audio. So we have a bunch of courses around the world of audio for content creators and podcasters. Then because I'm a business owner, we started making more courses for more advanced prompts, more things about business, marketing, and things like that. So right now, I think we have about 10 or 11 courses that are complete courses. And then in total, we have about 350 different tutorials on the platform. And it's a kind of a subscription platform. And I made sure it has a free trial. So people will go in there, see if they like it. If they don't like it, no problem. You could cancel within the 3-day trial. If you like it, then they could pay a monthly subscription. That way they get access to all the updates because it has a community tab. So I make sure any new update that comes with AI, we're usually the first to make the course on it.
You are, yeah.
Yeah, I try to be really fast on that. Photoshop 2024 with all the generative AI tools just came out 2 days ago. So we're already drafting the course for that to be out in 2 weeks. So we try to really go through it fast. And then we started now leveling up to hiring experts at a more advanced level too. So we have some more advanced courses coming online, like using Microsoft Azure and OpenAI to build your own chatbot, for example. It's more advanced. It's not super beginner friendly because you have to build your own server with Microsoft. But that, when I used it, we basically were able to make a chatbot in 30 minutes with our own content. So you could ask any AI relevant question that we're going to add to the website. So basically all that has been in the works since basically the beginning of when ChatGPT came online. I really got excited about it. I think I missed the first couple of months, but after that, I really dove in and started working on this and transitioned really a lot of my company and a lot of our resources into AI.
So I'm just, if you're listening right now and you've never checked it out, go and check it out. I'm not making anything on it. All I'm telling you is this is my secret weapon to knowledge. And I can tell you right now, I just finished, because I was traveling, your episode on Google search, and I implemented that just the other day. It was yesterday, and I was showing my parents the Google search, and it was like, oh my gosh. So I hooked up Claude, and then you just have to, it shows you Bing and Bard at the same time. The other one, what was it the other day? What was the one just before? Anyways, every time I look forward to receiving your videos. Like, whoa, okay, it was PowerPoint. And I was in the middle of a PowerPoint, and I thought, oh, let's give it a shot. And it's all these things that that will help you out, either save time or just do a better presentation, or which, is why we do this podcast, to make online sellers better online sellers. Okay, so let's get into some of the other things. And oh, by the way, I forgot to ask, I know what it is, but if you think this is hundreds or thousands of dollars, what is your monthly subscription? Because I shake my head.
With the link I gave you is $20 a month.
It's $20 a month. So go check it out. You're not going to believe it. So, and that's not hype. It's just one of my favorites. And I know when I contacted you, right? Like I was just like, oh, celebrity, like talking to you. I don't get hung up too much when I'm talking to people, but with you, it was so cool. And it was like, oh, please give me a call back. I have a podcast. I got to talk to you. And you did. So I'm glad you contacted me. So let's talk about some exciting developments in AI. What should we be looking for?
I mean, it's just going so fast. I literally spend all my time trying to keep up, and I usually just fall behind just because it's so fast. Just this past week, I literally was trying to post something on eBay to sell, an old camera, and then I see the description field has like an AI section. It just came out like 2 days ago. So I was like, even eBay, literally every little tool that I come across within a few weeks of using it. It's like, now we're AI. I
Yeah.
was building a website actually this week, and I used this AI tool called 10Web. And I've used it before, and it had nothing to do with AI. And now they transition completely into the AI website builder. And it's incredible. I just was making a little mini course on it this weekend because it's one of the best ways I've seen online to build a WordPress based website. So the back end of it still is WordPress, but if you've ever made a WordPress website, it's kind of technical. This is all AI in the front end of it, and then the back end, it just installs WordPress. You don't have to even know that it's using WordPress. That's how simple they've made it now. So that was one of the tools that I was going to start basically telling people to use, because a lot of people have a hard time these days. Even Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, all those people have made it really easy to make websites. So I'm sure they're going to roll out AI into it. But 10Web right now for website creation. The way I made Skill Leap, actually, I usually, when I have any kind of idea, I build a landing page and then I test out that idea with my audience to see if people are opting in before I even go that far into it. I found that to be a better model. That way I could get feedback before building out a business or even a course. And I use this other platform called Mixo. And Mixo, literally you type in a sentence. I think the website is mixo.io. You type in a sentence, and it literally makes you a landing page with all the sections.
What?
Yeah, it even makes you a logo, and it comes up with a business name that's actually pretty good. All I did was I typed in something like, e-learning platform for teaching people how to use generative AI. That's all I wrote. And it made me a whole website. It had like sections for testimonials. It had a really nice, strong header and subheader. It had like, it picked the images. And then I used that. This is maybe, when did I come out? Maybe in April I used that. And then I basically put that in my YouTube videos in the description. And then I got some of the people that opted into the website early on into my email list. And the whole thing took me like 10 minutes. It was ridiculous how quickly I built a landing page. Because before, with all the landing pages that I was building before, it was not a 5-minute process at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was one of the more exciting tools. And I don't know if you've seen my course on Pictory AI.
Oh yeah.
But Pictory is just blowing my mind. So just my background is in video production, more high-end B2B video production. And I always thought there should be something that the clients that I can't take on as a client, maybe the smaller businesses should have to make videos. Videos almost to this day was kind of this like unaffordable thing, right? Because if you hire me to make a commercial, it's going to be $10,000 plus. That's why we work with higher kind of, bigger clients. But on the lower side, if you're a small business, that's like really steep for you to spend, right? So Pictory lets you literally turn a text prompt into a video that's not bad. It's not obviously at the caliber yet of us making the video, but I remember the first time I used it, I got a little bit worried because this is the infancy of AI. And I was like, wow, it's kind of good, but it's like 5 months old, right? What if 5 years old or 5 years from now, am I making videos for businesses anymore, or is everyone using this? So I had some fear around that, which I've kind of pushed aside because it doesn't help me to be fearful of this technology. It only helps me to use it and utilize it right now. I'm not going to just guess what's going to happen 5-10 years from now. I might as well just use it at the best as I can. But those are some of my favorites right now.
We have Vikram on from Pictory. First of all, what an amazing entrepreneur, but his vision of where this is going is nuts. So anybody listening, if you haven't heard Vikram he's the CEO of Pictory, check out that podcast because it was one of my favorites. But just it's not quite there. I'll give you an example. So we were doing a Walmart presentation, right? And so we wanted to do this Walmart video for the landing page. So I thought, let's go ahead and use it. So I typed it in. I'm going, wow, this video is not bad. Wow. And then all of a sudden I see this drone going down to this big box store, and it was Costco. So I couldn't use it for Walmart, but it's getting there.
Yeah. No, you definitely still require some manual, but just the fact that you could click on a picture or a video that is auto selects for you and replace it with your own in 2 seconds, when I do that, like in our production company, we use Adobe Premiere. It's,
Yep.
it's probably the leading video editor. But to do just that takes like a couple minutes, maybe, right? To do that, where in these new tools, it takes seconds. And I always wondered why these tools weren't available. Why? Because Premiere is like this huge software you got to download. You have to watch like a 20-hour course on it. I mean, they literally taught me that like in film school, how to edit using these
Yeah.
like really advanced stuff. So I was like, wow, this is really going to change. It's really going to give people abilities they didn't have really. So a lot of times I was like, okay, I'll think of it a little bit differently. I'll give you an example right now. We're working with a video production client right now, and we wanted to basically have 20 different voices on a 3-minute marketing video to tell a story from all kinds of like diverse voices, perspectives, from global, basically voices and accents. Well, to do that before, first of all, it was going to be unaffordable for the client because I had to hire 20 different. So we were just going to think of that idea and be like, okay, well, that's not going to work. We can't afford it. But what we did was we just used 11 Labs.
Yeah.
11 Labs has some of the most incredible AI voices that you could find. I mean, it's like unparalleled. Pictory has AI voices, but when you use 11 Labs, you're like, whoa, these are like very human-like. So then we basically, in maybe a few hours, typed in the script we had, which was AI augmented as well, but we had written it, used AI to really make it good, have a lot of different options for every sentence to kind of compare, right, very quickly. Then we put that into 11 Labs, one sentence at a time. We had the 20 different voiceovers, and then we just assembled our video with that. And it's like such a powerful video because we've done this video before for the client with one person, one voiceover. But it's about diversity. So having 20 voices from all over the world read this script, right? I was not capable of doing that because the budget didn't allow for that, right? So it's giving me so many creative abilities now that I just didn't have before in just my line of work, right?
Yeah.
And in every little piece of work that I do, it comes in handy. It comes in handy in YouTube. It comes in handy when I'm making Facebook ads. It comes in handy when I'm just making high-end video productions, even in the different tools. And, now everything's called AI, but like back in the day, we were using After Effects, Adobe After Effects, which is really heavy AI tool. They just never called it AI, but it's really like removing objects from videos, which is something that's easy with Photoshop, really hard to do with video. So I've been using AI really for like 5-6 years in the creative world because a lot of the creative tools had AI built into it. Just no one used the word AI for some reason to describe like what these things are doing. But now it's like kind of overboard, honestly. It's like everything is AI. I'm like, well, that's just like, that's just machine learning, or that's just, people are just abusing the word, honestly.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think in just about everything you do, it just kind of blows my mind when I talk to someone and I describe to them some of these things and they're like, yeah, it's not going to work for me. Like, I can't use it, like there's no way you can't use it. Do you write emails? Do you ever write emails? Because if you write emails, you could use AI. Right? Do you ever write articles or do you post on social media? If you do, you could use AI, right? And in e-commerce, like everyone's running ads, right?
Yep.
All my ads, I just basically use the same framework for all my ads. I have a hook, I have a problem solution, and then I have a call to action. In Facebook, I try to keep that in 15 seconds long, right? Those ads, I've been A/B testing a whole bunch of those ads just to send people to Skill Leap, for example, just from Facebook ads that are working incredibly well, right? I come up with like just a framework. I give that to Claude or ChatGPT, and then I basically give it my website or website copy, and then it comes up with really good ads. I could A/B test really quickly. I'll put a $20 a day budget, A/B test this headline versus this headline. If you see my ads, I didn't write them. I just kind of prompted ChatGPT to kind of come up with different ideas for me, and it did.
That's interesting. The other thing, like let's stick on tools for a second. Uh, Now this was added on. I was already using this tool, but Loom videos.
Loom is
So
great, yeah.
we record everything on Loom, and typically if we had an issue, or not an issue, if we're trying to search, we use hashtags.
hmm
Well, that's great. You can still do that. You can still put up, a title, but everything is AI. So they'll generate the title, they'll generate the description, and now if you want to search, it searches everything in the video that you're talking about. So if you have something, let's say you want to teach somebody an onboarding process, well, it's easy to find. It's not like you have to go and try to, create some sort of file structure. It already is there. It's beautiful. So this came out a couple months ago, and I'm loving Loom more than I've ever loved it. How do you? Go ahead.
I've been using Loom for a while because when I hire other people to make YouTube videos for me, we usually use that because a lot of times we do technical training on some software, and Loom is just like a really easy tool to capture the screen. But when those AI things started rolling out, I was like, wow, now I don't have to come up with a description at all. And you know what else Loom did that I really liked, which Pictory does a similar thing, which when it transcribes the video, when it takes the audio from the video and transcribes it, now I could get non-technical teachers. I could hire teachers to create videos for me, and they could edit now inside of Loom because they just have to edit the text and he edits the video. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really nice. I have a teacher that is using, that's making like Microsoft Office kind of tutorials for a different YouTube channel we have. And then I had to, take that, download it from Loom, give it to someone else. I just made a quick tutorial for her to show her exactly how to trim the videos inside of Loom. I mean, it has a full video editor like underneath the video too. It's just like blade, cut, take sections out, and then it just saves it. And then when I get the video from her, it's ready to post. I don't have to do all those things. And nobody was able to do that before because then you had to learn editing. Who wants to learn Nobody wants to learn editing.
Right.
I've been trying to teach people editing forever, but it's a whole different thing people don't have time for,
So these are all, and this might be a curveball, but everybody listening is an e-commerce seller, either directly on e-com or on Amazon or on Walmart. Any tools other than what you've talked about, any other tools that you could recommend that they take a look at?
So I don't know any specific tools that would be good for e-commerce, but this is how I basically been doing it for myself that I think relates to e-commerce, which is right now, for example, I go to the Facebook ads library and I look up ads in my category and I copy and paste those ads into Claude, for example, or into ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT, the plus version, just because I feel like if you upgrade, you're never going to go back. I've never been able to use the free one after paying. It's just far better. So then what I do is I just use prompts to analyze the best performing ads. So I'll take like copy from 7 ads and I'll post it to ChatGPT and I'll say, can you analyze these ads? Give me the top 3 takeaways from those ads, like a prompt like that. And it will give me the top 3 takeaways. And then if I like the direction that it's going, I'll say, can you create a hook that's similar to those top 3 takeaways for an ad about, and then I'll insert like e-learning platform about learning AI. And then it'll come up with that. So a lot of my ads are basically using ChatGPT to learn from other performing ads. And I'm assuming the exact same thing could be used for coming up with the same thing for the title of a product you're posting on Amazon. You just take like, here's the top 3 best-selling products. You're selling monitors. Here's the top 3 monitors. You take the whole title, you give it to ChatGPT, have it analyze it for you. Like, what do these have in common? What's 3 things I could use for mine? And then just come up with different versions of it with ChatGPT. So I know a lot of people want to learn like hundreds of tools, but if you really just learn how to prompt ChatGPT the right way, which by the way, we have an advanced course coming up in 2 weeks that is like much, much more advanced than any ChatGPT course we have now, that'll go into really complete prompts that are like half a page and page long that you could copy and paste. That takes a while to kind of draft out. But when you do that, you could really come up with incredible things. Imagine you're going on Amazon, you're looking at the top listings and you're just like using your eyes and like trying to analyze what's going on. It's sort of a waste of time these days where you could just give it to ChatGPT. Tell me what's good about this. Tell me what I could take away.
Summarize it.
Summarize it. Same thing with the description of anything that's posted in the description section. Now I do this for YouTube all the time. I used to basically kind of script out manually by hand, right? Every video I've made. I've made maybe 2,500 videos in 7 years. Well, is cut my time of the scripting process in half, because now I just still kind of bullet point it, but have it kind of spell it out for me. I'll teach it my writing style too. So that's another thing that I use ChatGPT for all the time. I give it my writing style, have it analyze it, and then I give it a prompt after that to try to write in my writing style. So it's like a two-stage prompt. First, I say, here's a writing sample. Don't do anything but analyze it. Let me know what you take away from it. Then my follow-up prompt is says, now use that writing style to do this thing. And then I give it the prompt to do this thing. And then that's been helping me with YouTube scripts. But then after I'm done with the script, I just give it back the whole script. And I say, can you write me a SEO-friendly YouTube description? And then I could go well beyond just SEO-friendly, right? I could turn it into a blog post. And then in the blog post prompt, I say, can you write a blog post that has a H1 heading for the title, right? I have some background in SEO, so I know some of the keywords to use for that, right? So
Yeah.
some of these courses, like I've turned those where you could just copy and paste it. You don't need to know what an H1 heading or an H4 heading is, but I'll give it those things. The frequency of keywords that I want to use in a 500-word blog, I'll put that in my prompt, right? So all these things to go from just scraping what's already on the web. It could be on Amazon, it could be on YouTube, wherever, and then kind of tailor it to be my own without really plagiarizing. I'm not taking like copy and pasting what someone, right? It's very unique to what I'm writing because I'm giving it prompts to kind of tailor the direction that it's going. I can't tell you how much time it saved me. It's honestly, in December when ChatGPT came out, I used it and I got super depressed. I remember the first day I used it, I thought that was the end of my YouTube channel. And I thought that was the end of my video production company at the same time. I was like,
Yeah.
well, what am I going to do? I wrote, my prompt was like, write me a script about how to like transfer data from an iPhone to an iPhone, but explain it to my grandma. That was like the very first prompt I ever wrote to ChatGPT. And the way it just was so creative with it, I was like, well, there's the end of that. I guess I won't be making any and then I like, for a couple months, I just was using it every day. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to be better than this? How am I going to be better than this? But the hype kind of slowed down. So now I'm like, okay, it's gonna take some time. It's not gonna take my job tomorrow.
One of the best things I've ever used this for is, when you go to a virtual summit, or if you're watching something, or if it gets released, the recordings get released, I always find there's a lot of fluff in a lot of presentations.
Yeah.
And so I'll just have the URL, it'll point to it, and I'll just say summarize.
Yeah.
And that's not the exact prompt, but it'll summarize it. And, okay, that's everything I need to know. There's the nugget. Thank you very much. On to the next. I used to have hired VAs, that was their job, is to listen to trainings.
Oh, yeah.
And now, no, it's ChatGPT.
Yeah, I had a full-time person. All they did was I would send them my YouTube videos and they would make blogs out of it, right? They would just like transcribe it by hand.
Yeah.
Take that transcription, rewrite it basically, have like headings and subheadings and bullet points. And I was like, wait, this is like a 2-second job? Like you got to get the prompt right, because initially, if you this is why most people, I think, give up using ChatGPT after they try it the first time. They use very basic prompt. If you say like, write me a blog post about generative AI, you're going to kind of hate what it puts out. That's kind of the problem with it right off, because it's not going to be your style. It's going to be kind of weirdly in promotional language that doesn't sound very human. It sounds a little spammy, actually, if you give it like a 1-sentence prompt. But the key is to keep going and really getting the right prompt. And like one of the best ways I do that is, let's say you start with a prompt that says, write me a blog post about whatever, about this LCD monitor I'm trying to sell. It's going to go ahead and write that blog, right? Then let's say you just started with that, you don't know how to use ChatGPT. Then all you have to do is read it and be like, hey, why are you writing like this? I don't like the promotional words you're using. And then it's going to rewrite it. Then you still don't like it. You're like, this is way too complicated. Can you make it for a 5th grade reading level, 8th grade reading level? It's going to rewrite it again. I've sometimes done this for like 30 minutes with just 1-sentence revisions. okay, add this, do this title. Once I get to the very end of that long conversation with ChatGPT, like if I'm giving feedback to a human, like one word at a time, I'll just say, okay, now we're in the right place. I like your last output. Now give me the prompt that I could use next time we start a conversation to end up here. Then it literally gives me a prompt. I copy and paste it into I have a Word doc that's just called prompts on my Mac. And then next time I start a ChatGPT conversation, I start with that prompt. And then I don't ever have to do that waste of time. The thing I've noticed, people do that every single time. They never get to a point where I say, give me the prompt so I don't have to do this every single time. And then they get frustrated because they're like, every time I have to tell it to do this, to do this, to do this. Well, no, you only have to really do it one time if you don't know what prompt to start with, and you'll get the perfect prompt that's very tailored to you. It's not a prompt I'm giving you, right? You're crafting it based on all the things you want. And you could go for 2 hours to get it perfectly dialed in if you want.
Now,
so that's
I learned that from you, by the way.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I have I have a Mac. So it's in my Mac notes. I have something called prompts, and it's just the different styles, like whatever I'm doing. You know, another thing that I did, and we are past the bottom of the hour, but I'm just going to mention this. So one of the things that I found really useful just to get started is I wanted to, what was it? Oh, I was doing some posts and I wanted to make sure it was the right style. So first thing it was, I asked a question. Do you know Scott Cunningham from Digital Marketer? He said, yes. Do you know his TBIF marketing tool? Yes. And then I just started to write the prompt, and unbelievable what I got from it. And this is for a client of mine about, and I said, oh, give me 10 options. I could mix match. It was beautiful and it saved me a ton of time, and it was bang on. Like I was with Scott. I should have showed him and said, hey, what do you think of these? but anyways, it's the bottom of the hour, and I just we have a lot of people on right now. If you're a first time user, we have something called the Wheel of Kelsey, and that's up at the top of the hour. And that's where we give away a prize every podcast. So if you're interested, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. And that's why if you're a first time listener, you're seeing all these hashtag Wheel of Kelseys in the comments section. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. Now that prize today, it's awesome. Why don't you tell us what you're going to give away, SH? Saj?
Yeah, I put together just a coupon code for 3 months of Skill Leap for free. So you could still, everybody could get the free 3-day trial, but this is 3 months that you could get for free with that price.
And I don't know about you, but if you're listening for the first time, if you've never heard of the app that we're talking about, I would get over and take that 3-day. If you don't win, that's how I started, and I got hooked. You had me. I mean, it's so good. That 3 days, you've got a guy that's going to be there forever. And again, it's so inexpensive to join and learn. And if just hearing what Saj is saying today, these small little things, I've gone through, you log into my account. I've gone through your beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses. Every course, I try to keep up as much as I can. I didn't know much about Midjourney. I knew about it, wrong prompting. I haven't learned about Runaway. So I noticed that was your partner or one of the other contributors came out with that. But they have even the plugins, Code Interpreter, which is now named Advanced Code Analyzer or something like that.
Yeah.
All of these things. And one of the things that you showed in Code Interpreter when it first came out, it was how to use it like in a table format, how to use it for images, how to use it. And I sat there and said, oh my gosh. And nobody was talking about it. It was so cool. But anyways, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, take 2 people, you'll grab a second entry. And if you win, you get 3 months. So how's that? Okay, so let's go to a sponsor. We'll come right back.
This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by SureGo Marketing. Ready to take your brand to the next level on TikTok and Instagram? SureGo Marketing specializes in helping entrepreneurs and coaches build profitable brands on TikTok and Instagram and in less than 90 days. With SureGo Marketing, you can build your brand, create incredible video content, and increase leads without spending a single dime on ad spend. Visit suregomarketing.com today and elevate your brand. Now, let's get back to the show.
Okay. So, wow. You know what? We got talking about this. It's already been 40 minutes. That's
Yep.
crazy. Let me just see. Do you have a cutoff time? Just want to make sure I don't.
No.
Okay, good. All right. We've talked about prompts. And one of the things that I did know before I took your course, but you do a really good job of this, is bringing out what's a single prompt. What's a multiple prompt? Like, how do you get it to bring out the best? And let's talk about that, because a lot of people think they know how to use or prompt engineering when they know nothing. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your favorite prompts and how to put them together. You just showed one, and that last one that you explained, it's a game changer. You save a lot of time doing it. But any others?
Yeah, so the way, basically, if you're a complete beginner, so we have like a couple of ChatGPT for beginners course where it goes through all prompt engineering. The problem is the word prompt engineering seems so complex, but it's really just like, how do you type out a sentence that makes sense for this AI to understand in the best possible way? That's it. But when, I don't know why it's called prompt, it's just like the code interpreter. They quickly changed the name to data analyzer, data analysis, because like code interpreter doesn't make sense to regular people that are trying to use it, right? It makes sense to the developers that are using it to kind of write Python code, but it doesn't make sense to everyone else. So that's the one funny thing about OpenAI. I noticed they like release things very quickly. It's a very like a startup mindset, and they're like, oh, no, that's not good. But prompt engineering sort of came from when they were building these AI tools to begin with. So if you go to Playground, which is kind of another version of ChatGPT, is in the OpenAI website, you'll see more advanced things about how prompt engineering kind of works with the different models. It's just a public page. It's free. If you look up OpenAI Playground, it's really interesting. But before I answer your question, there's one more thing that is related to prompts that I like. That right now it can't happen with ChatGPT because at least today, as we're recording this, they turn off web browsing. But before, like right after they released web browsing, this is the best thing I've ever done with ChatGPT. And I think Claude actually is able to do that right now. But all you have to do is give it a link to your website. Let's say you're a marketer of some kind and you have a web page. This could work with a Shopify page, for example, too. And then you just say, can you analyze this website and give me 10 marketing tips to improve it? And that prompt is what I give it. And then I copy the link, literally link to skillleap.ai, the homepage of the website, which is sort of the landing page when people go to the homepage. Maybe half of what you see on the page right now is what came out of that. So it told me my sub headline, the headline underneath my headline, was not benefit oriented enough. And then it also said it wasn't clear enough. So it gave me like a bunch of options for that. Then I tested those out and I was like, okay, this is better. It gave me options for the heading too. Like the heading is the first thing you see, right? It has to be very clear what your thing is about. And then I tested out 2 or 3 different ones with Facebook ads. I just A/B tested different landing pages. And also ChatGPT won over what I thought was the best headline. And I know my business pretty well, right? I should come up with a bit better headline than just like a simple prompt could give me. Then the really interesting thing was it told me to add an FAQ section. I didn't have one on the homepage, on that landing page. So, and then follow-up prompts. I said, well, what kind of questions do people have in FAQ? I don't know, like what should I put there? Then it also told me I didn't have the right stuff in my privacy policy. And it also told me to add like a cancellation policy, because you just got to make it really easy when you have a free trial to have cancellations accessible So make a cancellation policy page in the footer of your page. It's like just recently, I was working on I saved this whole conversation because I was like, I'm going to do all these things after I did a few. It told me I didn't have enough social proof. So I signed up for like one of those rating websites that people could go rate the different courses or the platform of the company. So then I could put that on there, right? We have almost 1,000 people that have signed up, but I literally haven't reached out. I think you gave me a testimony, actually.
I did.
That's right, prominent on the homepage, but I didn't have testimonials, and it's like not great to not have any of those things. But the fact that I could just use prompting to come up with those by giving it a landing page, I can't believe. I used to hire, expert marketers on like Upwork, and half the time I would hire someone, I'm like, how did they get this job, or how did they get this ranking so high? Half the time I was impressed. To this day, I still hire freelancers. Like I have people helping me with Facebook ads that are, I think, still better than what any AI tools could do. But as new AI tools, like for example, I started A/B testing. You know how Facebook has this like tailored campaign where it's sort of like AI-based targeting. It just figures out everything for you. And then they have just a regular campaign, right? Where I have to figure out my targeting, ad creative, all like the 100 things you have to A/B test. Well, somehow this just open targeting tailored campaign is working better than what I'm doing with very customized targeting, right? Which doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, so Meta is like at the cutting edge of AI, so they could do that, right? But that's going to roll out to everything. Everything is just going to work better, I think, that's AI assisted than what I'm going to be able to do manually. And I've tested out Facebook ads here and there for like 5-6 years, and how could tailored campaign beat me with open targeting? I literally don't tell who I want to show it to, and it finds the right people. It's just like, it's just blowing my mind. But I'll tell you one other. I actually have it here on screen because it's one of my favorite ways to prompt. So this is more advanced, but one of the prompts that I like to use is basically, a lot of times I've been using blog posts as a way to drive traffic, right? Like SEO-based blog posts. And a lot of times, I mean, I'm more in the video side, but a lot of times I turn those videos into blogs so they could actually live on their own. So I'll come up with video ideas and blog ideas. I usually just start with, give me 10 SEO keywords related to the whatever topic, right? In this case, it would be related to generative AI. And then it would give me the 10 different ideas. And then I would say, give me highly clickable titles based on these 3 keywords. So I would take the 10, I would narrow it down to 3 using my brain, that what I think is more relevant. And then it would then give me the 3 highly clickable titles. Some of my YouTube ideas are from that search, just a simple search through ChatGPT. And the other thing I always tell people is like, A/B test some things, like use Claude, use Bard, and use ChatGPT, and A/B test these kind of prompts, right? You don't have to just use one versus the other one. Like people A/B test Facebook ads till every single week, but they won't A/B test prompts, or they won't A/B test these different language models against each other. Once I get those highly clickable titles, then I give, this is something that's in the advanced course that's coming out, but I give this really super long prompt where I basically say, I'm going to give you a set of instructions. Don't do anything just yet. Analyze my instructions. Then I'm going to ask you what I want you to do. And then in that set of instructions, I would say all the things that I need to tell ChatGPT to do to write a very SEO friendly and readable blog post. So that's where I say things that we talked about. Like, I want my introduction to have a strong hook for the reader and use one of the keywords from the keywords that I paste. The formatting, I talk about the formatting. So make it really easy to read. Use number, list, and bullet points. Have optimal spacing. For the body, I would tell it use H2 and H4 headings and break it up as you see fit. Optimize it for SEO, italicize keywords. Just a bunch of stuff like this. Writing rule, I say write it in a 5th grade reading level. Use simple words, explain things in a clear way, use shorter sentences when possible. Like all these, I basically use in this super long prompt. When I give it that prompt, then it writes the blog post is far closer to what I want, right? Then I could still come up like, hey, you missed this thing. And then at the end, I usually say, write me 140 character meta description. So then I could put that on the WordPress or whatever website I'm using. I have a really good meta description there. And then I do content remixing after that, which is, okay, that's cool. Now give me some LinkedIn posts based on that. Now give me a YouTube description based on that. Now help me write a YouTube script if I started with blog transitioning. And it seems like a lot of things I'm doing, but like once you get into a workflow of it, I don't know. I don't want to like over exaggerate how much time it saves me, but it saves me at least 100%. I could be 100% more productive at the minimum, right? Like people just say 10x, but 10x sounds very aggressive. But usually, like I would say, I've done twice as much this year than last year, for sure, at least. So hopefully those are good.
There is, and this is going to be very complicated. So we've talked about single prompt. We talked about these larger prompts that bring it out. But here's something, and this is more for a book. Okay, so easy peasy to create ebooks. Again, write the prompts. But going back, and I think I told you about this when we last talked, I was trying to create a really incredible fictional novel. And I was having problems because it has to relate to everything. So the atmosphere, the settings, every character has to have its own brief, right? So it was relating back to every single thing. So there's about 20 elements when you're writing a book. And this takes a long time. And it did take me 2 days to write this. So I'm going back, I'm seeing this, and I'm building the character development. And you could do this with a brand. But at the end of the day, every single time I tried to bring it out, and I know what I'm doing, onto ChatGPT, it started to fall apart. So it would go chapter 1. Oh, wow, this is fantastic. And then it would stop at a certain point, continue. Oh, this is fantastic. All right, now let's get into chapter 2 where there's the outline. Now it skips the outline and goes down a different path. I say, oh, please review. I always say please. I don't know why, but review outline 1, but it'll always go down a different path. Now, I talked to somebody, they said you can take these really long documents and like 2, 3, 4, 10-page prompts, very long, and put it in and just have it continually refer back. So if you've got a prompt like that, do you have any suggestions? Like I'm talking about, let's say, a 2-page prompt. It's a long one. How do you keep something like that on track where it's constantly having to refer back to 5 or 10 different things?
I always find that doesn't work as well as like a half-page prompt. That's why I usually do it in sections where I say, here's a half-page prompt, and then I follow up after it gives me something. I found that if I give it something really, really long, I mean, it's in the early days, right? It's like less than a year old. So it still does I've tried to do exactly the same thing. And that's why there's no course or topic on it, because with fiction, I still have a hard time, especially with the context window of it being kind of on the short side. You can't write like a novel, right? It just runs out of things. And I've tried it with different models. Like Facebook has an open source model called Llama 2. It's a large language model like ChatGPT, but it's so much worse. But I tried to use that for a while. Then I was like, oh, Claude has like a bigger context window, but it's not as creative as ChatGPT or the creative mode on Bing. So then I was like, okay, then I'm stuck with this. So I keep having a hard time with anything creative to get it to do. It does that every single time, that what you're describing. It kind of, at first you're really impressed and then you're like, what are you doing? This is not the character you just developed. It's not some other character. And I'm assuming that's just the kind of like some of the creative limitations, which actually took a huge leap from 3.5 to GPT-4. It was like wildly better, but I'm really hoping GPT-5 now is going to really lean in. I mean, this is kind of a problem. Like I work with a lot of people in the writer union, WGA, this is what they're fighting for, right? They don't want this to take over like everything that a human is doing. So maybe they're slowing it down on the creative side to not step on all these people that are writing movies and TV shows, maybe. But I haven't found an exact model to do that. But similar to what you're doing, I'm doing a same thing. I wrote a script in film school, a sci-fi movie that is just like, to this day, it's like $100 million budget movie. I can't make anything that's like that movie, right? But it's just been sitting in script format for years. But I used Kyber. Kyber is a text to video generator tool. And my movie starts with a dream sequence. It's about the Roswell alien crash. It's like a weird sci-fi like abduction story. And it's a dream sequence, so it could look a little goofy, right? Like if you have a dream, maybe things are muddy. Kyber turns text into video, but it's like really kind of still weird. Like there's not enough. Runway does this too, the other course we have. But with Kyber, it's a little bit cheaper, so I started using Kyber. And it made me a pretty good like opening sequence as a dream sequence to a movie that I've been sitting on for like 20 years that I had no idea how to pitch because I couldn't afford millions of dollars to like even make like the opening sequence. So I was like, okay, this is really interesting shot by shot. And it has a storyboard thing where it creates like, here's 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, you transition them all. I was like, now I could kind of pitch this with like a visual element to kind of show someone, not just text, here's the script, read it. Well, everybody tries to do that. Now I could do something nobody's doing. But it's similar to what you were talking about with ChatGPT trying to write a script. They're all not quite there. Like Kyber is cool, but it's taking me many, sometimes 10 different versions of a clip to get anything that I could use, right? So again, super early. So I was like, okay, in 2 years, I bet Kyber and Runway are gonna make some videos that are gonna like blow it. It happened with Midjourney. Look at the creations today that Midjourney makes with images, and look at it 1 year ago. Unbelievable. Like this now, if you use the right prompt, in most cases you can't tell that's made by AI.
Right.
You might think it's a photograph. A year ago, it looked completely messed up in every way it could be, right? So I was like, okay, Midjourney came this far. Now if Runway and Kyber come this far, now you're going to introduce a whole world of filmmaking that's never been possible. All these people with incredible ideas are never going to be able, on the cheap end of filmmaking, a decent, cheap, like low budget movie is $1 million, right? You're really under $1 million, you're not going to make a movie, right? And on the high budget, the Marvel $200, $300 million budget movies, right? So to give everybody the ability to tell fictional stories they could come up with in a visual format, people are trying to do it with books now, but imagine every story that you ever wanted to tell on the fictional side as a movie that you could do on your own, in like a week's time using prompts in tools like Runway and Kyber. Everything is just blowing my mind right now.
This is going to shake up society, because just think along those lines. If you could create your own movie with people that have never existed, what's that going to do to the film? And I'm going down different rabbit hole, but what's that going to do to, like you said, the writers or the industry itself? It'll probably stir up a new industry, but it's going to go. And it's not that far away where you're going to be able to create a character based on the 3 best acting X or the best acting comedians of this genre. And all of a sudden there they are. And even the scripts will be written. And I don't know. I think right now we need the human touch.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know when that's going to stop. And I think it will stop. I mean, if you don't think it's going to happen, it could be 5 years, it could be 2 years, it could be 10 years, but it's bound to happen. Anyways, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
Yeah. So we were talking about the fictional side of things, so I thought I'll talk about Kyber. It's one of my favorites, but it never makes it into conversation.
No. I just checked it out while you were talking about it, and I got to check it out after the podcast. But let's talk about, so this will be the final question for me, then we've got a few questions. But day to day, how can people just in general use AI day to day?
I think the way everyone should use it is just to craft better emails. That should be the very first way you use it. I wouldn't write your emails with AI, but every time now I write my emails so fast, they're full of errors. And I just literally just give it to ChatGPT. And the only prompt I typically use, I just say, fix the following text for grammar and for spelling. But I don't change the tone or the context, so it still sounds like me. Because I'm getting like bombarded with emails, especially from sponsors, and I could tell 100% nobody wrote that. Or nobody even read that, honestly. It's just like, it's some ChatGPT output from a single sentence prompt, and I'm not going to respond. It just seems like a lazy way to do business. But if you do it the way I do it, which is probably the emails I've sent you, I've done, it's a super easy copy and paste, right? Now, I mean, I'm inside of the Google Labs thing. Google Labs has the AI tools inside of Gmail now. They has it inside of Google Sheets. So you could create a lot of stuff just very quickly. I just finished a video yesterday to make entire tables, entire agendas, entire budgets inside of Sheets with a text prompt. That's inside of Google Labs. It's really cool. But with emailing, I would 100% start there, because I don't know anyone that doesn't email like once a day. Everyone has to email something. And then every time, this is the part that takes a little bit of practice. And I think that's why ChatGPT had a huge spike, and then it slowly had a little decline of people be like, okay, because you tested it out and you're like, no, it's not for me. You have to get through that, right? It's like going to the gym for a week. You know, I usually give up after a week. You know, but you got to get past that week, and then you're like, I would be so crippled, honestly, right now if I don't use ChatGPT. As like, if I was to pick one tool, that's the one I use more frequently than the rest, probably a couple hours a day. But if you took that away from me, I've really kind of built that into my workflow, right? And other tools have, like, I can't do my work without Photoshop and Premiere, right? And Photoshop's made me a lot more productive too. But I would start with email. Then I would start with basic prompts to write whatever your job is, right? Like in e-commerce, it would make a lot of sense to start really getting better titles and descriptions using AI by just really doing that thing I said with the prompt. Start very basic, keep having a conversation with it, and then at the end, ask for that prompt. And do it with all the different pieces you need to make you a good store. The other thing, if you run a Shopify store, hopefully the web browsing comes back with ChatGPT. Run it through ChatGPT, get its feedback. And one of the things we didn't talk about, a lot of times I'll start a prompt by saying, act as my digital marketers. You know, people have seen these act as, and a lot of people think it's not really doing anything. A/B test it. I bet you it's doing a lot more. If you start a prompt with act as whatever, like act as my digital marketer, and if you don't, it's a different result. Like you'll clearly see the difference if you A/B test it. Sometimes it's going to be the same maybe, but like over time, if you make that your habit of whatever you're trying to do, just say act as. And online there's a list, like we have a list in a course, like 100 of them. You could just copy and paste. There's a webpage on GitHub that has like 100 different ways for ChatGPT to start act as. So that's the next way I would do it. And then the other thing we talked about is take your favorite things, you know, being Facebook ads, being descriptions from something else, being a YouTube transcript. Take those, have ChatGPT analyze it, have Claude analyze it, and see what they're doing right. Because those things could give you a brief summary, like, here's 3 things they're doing really well. It's going to tell you that. So then the next time you do it, I mean, that's one of the ways, like, I didn't use AI to do this, but one of the ways I had like exponential growth on TikTok was just coming up with really good hooks. Well, now ChatGPT just comes up with really good hooks based on the good hooks that I give it, based on the ones that have worked for me, based on my niche. Like, okay, analyze these. What's good about it? Oh, this is good about it. Okay, give me 10 hooks that are like this. Then that's where the human intervention comes in, right? I looked at the 10, I'm like, oh, no, yes, I'll do this, you know? Hey, somebody left me a nice comment.
Yeah, there we go. You're a legend. So, yeah, like you said, there are so many different things that you can do. Just try a bit, come back, try a bit, get that prompt right. Even in Skill Leap, there Skill Leap. I didn't do it. I'm
Yeah, no,
dyslexic,
that's right.
so Skill
Yeah.
Leap, I got it right. But if you go in there, you also have resources like you'll be talking in one of your videos, and you'll say, "Oh, we'll check our resources. There's 100 prompts here," or
Yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah.
that, right? So it's really easy. I know you did that with, like, for example, Code Interpreter when that first
Yeah,
came
the
out.
code interpreter.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
had a bunch of prompts.
yeah, we have just about every course we have. If it's not, some of the audio courses are too simple, so you don't have to like download anything. But for our ChatGPT, Midjourney, I think Runway has it. But all of them usually come with a big set of prompts and just resources. I think our Ultimate AI course has like 20 different PDFs for each
Yeah,
section, because each section is kind of divided up in the order of how I would teach AI, which is starting with the large language models and prompting, and then going more into the visual elements like Midjourney and Photoshop and things like that, and then going into the video creation. I mean, ton of video creation tools we didn't talk about, but there's so much in the world of marketing you could do with these video creation tools. Again, not quite there, right? So you're going to be like, oh, this doesn't look like me. Like Synthesia just gave me a license to clone myself in video, right? They said, shoot yourself on green screen and we're going to make an avatar of you that looks like you, right? Well, it doesn't look 100% like me, right? I mean, that'd be kind of creepy if it did, but it's like kind of like me. But everyone forgets that this is like a year old, it's like
yeah.
making fun of the first BlackBerry. Like, okay, calm down. It's like everything's gonna be
Which was the
wildly different,
coolest
which was
at the
cool. Yeah,
time. Yeah.
but
Okay.
we're early.
Yeah, yeah, we're early into this. So let's get into a couple of questions, and then we'll get over to the wheel.
Alrighty. I also want to just mention, and I feel like some people might be holding out to see if they're the winner, but we have something for everyone. It's 20% off Skill Leap, and you can use this link that I'm just dropping now to check it out. So maybe just save that link for after the wheel. But our first question is from Tony. Do you have any AI tools for making 3D product pictures or videos? I started using HeyGen, which has Canva integrations.
3D. I don't know anything with 3D. HeyGen is good. HeyGen and Synthesia are very similar as far as and DID is another one that kind of does similar things, but that's more on the kind of 3D video side. So I've compared those three, and I think Synthesia still is the winner between HeyGen and DID. I think it's a little bit more expensive than the rest, but it's been around like by far the longest. I used it like back in like 2019, maybe. It's one of those tools that's been around. But for 3D products, I think our Midjourney course had, this is the course Andrew made, but I thought in his prompt list I saw something that made things a little bit more 3D, or at least he made them pop a little bit more. But I don't know. I'll ask Andrew. He's more on the graphic side of things. I'll see if he has something.
Okay.
All right, and we have got a two-parter here. This is from Neil. There's so much AI talk right now that it's overwhelming me. Since we're just about to launch our first product, I thought I would learn Amazon before AI, but maybe I should use AI to learn Amazon. So his question is, how should I use AI to learn Amazon better? How would you go about doing that?
Norm, what are you doing? What are you doing for
Well,
that?
there's a variety of different things. First of all, you can go in, copy your competitors' listings, and find out what they have, what they're talking about, analyze it, summarize them, and get the best out of it that way. There's a lot of AI tools that are working with Amazon right now. Like we've had Zonguru on, and all of them now have some form of AI, so you could always use that. Like with Zonguru, I know that one probably they're one of the best, at least that I know, and they give you a score, so you can use 10 15 different competitors, and then you can analyze and see which one of these listings will get you the better sale based on their algorithm. And you can just create a listing that's better than anybody else. So that has better indexing, that has better keywords. So that's the one thing that you can do. The other thing with Amazon is you could play around exactly like you just talked about. How can I make this a better listing? You know, if you put in, these are my competitors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, and you show their bullet points as well, and you say analyze each one and tell me how I can have a better listing. Or this is all like things that you could. I'm just saying at the top of my head, but let's say that you wanted to have your main keyword, but you wanted to have your benefit in the title, and you wanted to make it sound a bit more engaging. This is where you can get AI to come up with a better title using 200 characters or 80 characters. And the other thing, I've never tried this, but there are certain people who have certain ways of putting together titles or bullets, like Stephen Pope, completely different than Brandon Young. Freedom Ticket from Kevin King. The way that they teach, you might want to say, just like you were saying, act as a digital marketer. I've done this in the past where I've said, like I just told you, do you know digital marketer? Do you know Scott Cunningham? Do you know? And you could do that the same way. Act as a Amazon seller using Brendan Young's title optimization. And I've never done it. I'm just thinking out loud, but that would probably work because it would, as long as they know Brendan Young or Stephen Pope or Kevin King, they could use what they're doing to build a title or bullets. That might be something. So
yeah,
think about that.
And I think just at the very basic level of using AI to learn Amazon FBA has been around long enough that ChatGPT actually has enough context to be able to give you answers. So a lot of times, like in the beginner version of ChatGPT, all you really have to do is give it context. Just tell it where you're at. So you could say, I'm a complete beginner. I'm trying to learn Amazon FBA, or I'm trying to build a Shopify store, whatever you're trying to do. Can you tell me, for an absolute beginner, the step-by-step process of starting? So then sometimes it's going to do a good job. Sometimes you'll have to use Claude AI because that has more relevant, up-to-date information that's trained on data that's all the way to 2023. ChatGPT's cut off at 2021 without any web access. So sometimes I'll go back and forth, and it'll kind of outline for you like how to learn the thing you want to learn. I've been trying to teach myself Python, and it's basically, I did that same thing. I was like, I'm a complete beginner to Python. I only know whatever, CSS and JavaScript, but I'm trying to learn Python. Give me a step-by-step process on how to learn that. Then the follow-up round is like, okay, now give me a bite-sized schedule. So every day I have 15 minutes of free time. What can I do in that 15 minutes? And then you'll go back and forth a few times. This is just one of the lessons from one of the ChatGPT courses. Then I'll create myself a course for me, right? With a schedule. Be like, okay, and then I would like, okay, I like this. Create me a lesson plan to learn this, and I'll create that 15-minute. And then I say, create a quiz to test my comprehension on the topic you just taught me, and I'll do that. So you could do that with anything. I'm assuming it would work with Amazon. I'm more like, all my experience selling online comes not through e-commerce, but through building landing pages and selling that way. But I'm assuming the model should work the same way for just about anything you want to learn.
Yeah, and you could always flip over to the other platforms. Like you could try Claude, for example, or Bard or whatever. But you know what? I saw that in one of your lessons. And now that is actually something that I've taught other people about whatever, but I'm doing that with Python myself. When I saw that, I went, oh man, what a great curriculum. What a great, this is so easy as long as I can stick to that, 30 minutes to an hour a day.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, but it's like going to the gym, right? But you could do that with anything. So you see something, it could even be about AI, it could be about anything, but you could learn those little nuggets to get you through. And it might only be 15 minutes a day for a week
Right.
on something.
Right.
But that, by the way, that was a great tip that you gave in that video. So I did exactly like you said.
Nice.
Okay, Kels.
All right, so I think that's it for questions. We can
right.
head over to the wheel if you'd like. Or
Well, just before we do that, just to give everybody a reminder, because we got a whack of new listeners listening today. So if you have not heard of the Wheel of Kelsey, at the top of the hour, we give away a prize. Today's prize is awesome. If you've heard what Saj has been talking about, all this AI and all these courses, well, this is a 3-month membership into his course platform called Skill Leap. So anyways, if you like what you've heard today, and judging by the comments, everybody has 3 months free. We've also got, it'll be, and this is for everybody, I think it's 20% off, which is $20 a month for the product. So if you're interested, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. So you only got about 30 seconds. Once this sponsor's done, then we're spinning the wheel, and you've never seen it before. So let's get to the sponsor.
This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Rebate. Attention sellers and brand owners, want to reach more shoppers and boost sales? Rebate's platform connects sellers with shoppers seeking great deals on new products. They make it easy to offer promotions, handle rebates, and ensure seamless redemptions. With countless reviews from satisfied customers, Rebate is the go-to solution to increase your sales. Visit rebate.com today and start reaching more shoppers. Now let's get back to the show.
All right, we're back. You're going to see the wheel. Kelsey, where are you?
all right, so here we go. Here is the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
That's fun.
Okay. It was done all AI. Wow, we got to whack people today. It's probably one of our biggest wheels. Can't hear you, Kels. You can sign, do some interpretive dance.
Sorry. Okay, am I good now?
You're good now.
All right. Okay, so we're going to spin this up. If you are the winner, please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, and let's see who today's winner is.
Whoever wins is going to love it. You're going to love it.
I think that's Jason.
Jason. All right, Jason.
All right, so make sure you email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, or you can message me on Facebook, and we'll arrange you your prize.
And look, if you are interested, it's 3 days. You get 3 days free, and you can just go through the courses if you like. If you want to, you can add the coupon code and get that 20% off. And again, I don't get anything out of it. So this is just something that Saj just came up with. Okay, sir. So we'll remove you. If you can stay backstage for a second, we'll be back there in 2 seconds. But you were awesome. You did exactly what I thought you would do. Deliver a ton of nuggets for us. I hate the word nuggets, but ton of value for us. And I hope you can come back.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
And by the way, you're going to be one of the contributors to our newsletter, right?
Yep.
Which is going to be awesome. Okay, so I hope you liked today's episode. It was awesome. Saj is awesome. Get over to his, check out his website, and try that 3-day trial. And
I also want to mention, Saj, what is the YouTube channel for people that might be interested?
The YouTube channel is called Howfinity, Howfinity. Terrible name, but I've had it for 7 years and it's staying there.
All right. And also somebody just asked about the link to the course page. And so, Kels, can you put that up there?
Yep, no problem.
All right. And I don't know what Simon's saying, but he's got some sarcastic remark. What is it? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you're going to put up Simon. But anyways, thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcasts, click over here.
Lunch with